Hey guys, Marco the dog trainer here. Today we're going to be doing a quick video on plastic crates versus wire crates. Now, I don't necessarily think that there's a right or wrong answer to which one is best. I think there's kind of a time and a place for both of them. Over the span of my dog training career, I've used wire crates, I've used plastic crates, I've used fabric crates, and I have personally started gravitating mainly to the Petmate plastic crates. But I'm going to walk you guys through all the things I would be thinking about if I were trying to decide between a plastic crate and a wire crate. So that way you guys can kind of make the right choice for your particular situation. Now for this video, I pulled out the Petmate 48-inch Sky Kennel. And then I'm using the ICrate by Midwest Homes for Pets for our wire crate. Now again, both these brands have different sizes based off of our dog. I'm going to put links in the description for both of them. So that way, if you're leaning one way or the other, you can check out, either or. All right, so let's kind of jump in here. So the first thing we'll talk about is how easy is it to clean these different crates. So in my opinion, I think it's easier to clean plastic crates because they're just two big pieces of plastic, like a top piece and a bottom piece that you kind of put together. We can take a vacuum attachment and just vacuum it very, very easily. I think that because that bottom tray is basically so big, it's the whole bottom half of the crate, it really collects like dirt and leaves and mud and all that kind of stuff, and just makes it very easy to vacuum it out. And then again, once you do that, you spray it down with some cleaning solution. You can wipe it down with a rag. Very, very quick, very easy. And maybe once a year, I'll just take apart the two pieces, bring it outside and hose it down to like really kind of thoroughly reset it. Now, as far as the wire crate goes, we can pull the tray out, the plastic tray at the bottom, and that's pretty easy to clean, kind of the same concept as this. But when it comes to the rest of the crate, it's a little bit more difficult and tedious to clean. Where if you're kind of a neat freak like me, like, cleaning every single pole on the wire crate to get dust and hair and mud and all that kind of stuff off of it is pretty tedious, okay? And all of the hinges that kind of help the crate collapse, I think a lot of dog hair gets stuck in them. So it's just going to be a little bit more of a project to thoroughly clean the wire crate. Now, again, because it's made of metal, we don't necessarily want to take it outside and just hose it down because that's going to speed up rust and degrade the quality of the crate much faster. Okay, so as far as cleaning goes, plastic crates I think are just a little bit better. Now, as far as durability goes, okay, so most people would probably imagine that a wire crate is going to be more durable than a plastic crate. And in some ways it kind of is, but I'm still going to be in favor of a plastic crate when it comes to durability because, plastic crates, they're, like I said, just two shells that are kind of put together. So outside of plastic getting a little scratched up, it doesn't really break. Where the metal crates, they, even if you're not getting them wet, they tend to rust over time. So this particular plastic crate is probably 8 years old. And outside of a couple scratches in it, you really wouldn't know. Now, this particular wire crate is pretty new, but some of my older wire crates that are probably even younger than this look very rusty and rugged. Just because, again, they're metal and dogs are licking at the sides and stuff like that. And over time, they just tend to degrade a little bit. Again, even the welds and all that kind of stuff start to come undone. So even though the metal crate may last a long time, I think that the plastic crates are more functional for a longer period of time. And anything metal on the plastic crate, we can actually replace it as needed, like the side vents or the door. I think once or twice in the lifespan of this crate, I've just bought a new door and added it in, which again is much cheaper than just buying a second crate, a replacement crate. So now the next thing we'll talk about is safety, where I feel that plastic crates are just safer than wire crates. Okay, the plastic crate, the way that it's built and put together, there's nothing really in there that's sharp. It's going to be very difficult for a dog to hurt themselves in this crate. Okay, where metal wire crates, like I said before, you know, each of these little poles kind of has a little bit of a jagged edge. And those can already just get sharp over time. And now if we've got a dog in there that's, again, messing with things and bending things and breaking welds, I think there's just a lot more opportunity for sharp edges in this crate versus this crate. Now, another kind of safety thing to think about is that most crates, you're supposed to take your dog's collars off before you put them in the crate, just as a safety precaution. And I think that wire crates also just give a lot more opportunity for collars and things like that to get stuck on the crate itself. Okay, now, loosely related to safety, and we're going to talk about how easy it is for dogs to escape from these two different models. Okay, so generally speaking, wire crates are some of the easiest crates for dogs to escape from. So if your dog is good at getting out of crates, you do not really want to be using a wire crate. All they have to do is paw at the door enough that the handle just kind of moves a little bit, and now they can get out. So probably one of the easiest crates for dogs to get out of. Now, again, it's kind of connected to safety because some dogs, even if they don't make it out through the door, they start biting at the wires and kind of bending things, and they'll open a hole to try to squeeze themselves through. And again, lots of sharp edges and stuff like that. And I've seen dogs get cut trying to escape from a crate like this. Where the plastic crate, like I said, there's not really anything sharp in there. And this particular size and model is very difficult for dogs to get out of. Some of the smaller ones are a little bit easier. So I'm not necessarily going to say that the Petmate Sky Kennels are like Houdini proof or the top recommendation for dogs that are thoroughly, like, really trying to get out of crates, but they're going to be better than a wire crate will be. Okay, now the next thing that we'll talk about as far as preference goes is going to kind of dig into our dog psychology a little bit. That dogs are den animals. So a lot of times when they're nervous or afraid of like a thunderstorm, we see dogs going under tables or in closets because they want to feel closed in. They feel safer that way. They want to know nothing's sneaking up behind me or nothing's above me that can get me. So the plastic crates are more closed in. It's a little darker in there. They feel a little more protected. Where wire crates, I feel it's a little bit more like our dogs are on display in there. They're not really closed in. Now, this isn't going to really affect every dog, but I just still think it's a point that's worth talking about. Now, for wire crates, there are covers that you can buy to put on them. There are, some people will just throw a blanket on top of the crate, and that works well for some dogs, but I've also seen dogs pull the covers in and ruin and shred up the covers, and they've pulled blankets in and ripped the blanket up. So that's at least what I would be thinking about when it comes to like the den idea for our dogs. Now, the next thing we'll talk about is just overall convenience. Okay, and this is actually one that I'm going to be in favor of the wire crate for. Is that when it comes to taking apart these crates and traveling with them and moving them, the wire crate is pretty convenient because it collapses down into like a one little rectangle that it has a kind of suitcase handle, and you can carry it like a suitcase. It's very convenient, and it's nice for traveling, which is actually one of the main times that I will use a wire crate is if I'm driving somewhere and I'm bringing my dogs with me and I don't want to lug this giant thing around with me. Okay, where the plastic crate, it does break down, and I can take the top piece and flip it upside down and just put it inside the bottom piece, and that's nice because it takes up like half as much room, and sometimes I'll put stuff, the dog food and beds and all that stuff in there so it's all together, but it's definitely a lot bulkier than the wire crate is when you're breaking it down and trying to move with it. Now, another advantage of the wire crate, or most wire crates, is that they come with a divider, where these are obviously models for big dogs, but most big dogs don't start big, they start small. So when you're training puppies, you usually don't want a puppy to have a really, really big crate, because that can lead to potty training issues and other things. So these dividers in the wire crates can basically help us adjust how big we want our crate to be. And obviously this would be in there. It kind of works like a wall. And that can be really helpful when it comes to buying one crate for a puppy that we want this puppy to grow into the crate. Where the plastic crates, I'm sure you could get creative and kind of find a way to make that work with like milk crates or zip ties or something like that. But it's not technically, there's not something built that is designed to be used as a divider. Now, another kind of advantage of the wire crates is that they're just cheaper. And when I was a new dog trainer and I had to buy 10 crates, there's just no way I could afford 10 plastic crates. So that was actually where I had most of my experience with wire crates, was as a newer trainer when I was just needed a lot of them. So I can't say for sure what the cost difference is, but I want to say that the plastic crate is almost double the wire crate cost in most situations. Now, again, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad idea to get the plastic crate. In my opinion, I'm an advocate of you get what you pay for. So if you pay one lump sum for the plastic crate and you treat it right, it'll last you years and years and years and years. Where the wire crate, again, 8, 9, 10 years in, you might say, this is getting kind of rusty, or things are starting to get bent out of place, and we might just need to get a second crate. Okay, so, but cost is obviously going to be a main factor for a lot of us. So that is one of the main benefits of the wire crate. Now, the last thing we'll talk about is probably not going to make or break things for most people, but it's just a kind of added bonus that's worth talking about, is that at least the Petmate Sky Kennels, this particular model, or at least brand, are approved for flight or on use on airplanes. So if we're going to be traveling across the country or moving, these are all approved to have our dogs flying on the plane with us, where I don't think any wire crates are, and a lot of other plastic crates are not. So at least this particular model is. So outside of that, like I said, I'm going to put both makes and models into the description. I'm going to have all the different sizes there for you with the kind of recommended weight and everything like that, so you can pick the right one for your situation. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.